Hey everybody, Steuben here, and today we're going to take a look at the brand new Charizard EX League Battle Deck. These are officially out. I found this one at a local Walmart already, so super cool to be able to get my hands on this. It comes with an absolute amazing pre-built deck, and we're going to open this up, look at the cards inside, and then I'm going to show you the cards that you should pick up on the side, say from your LGS or TCGplayer or other means of acquiring them, and what you should do to upgrade this deck to the best of its potential. So let's just dive right in. And if you're new here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button for me. Leave a like and comment down below to really help me on my journey as a content creator. But without further ado, let's just bust on into this thing. We're gonna rip the bottom open and go down through here. And this is a code card that I don't want to give away in this video, so I'll go ahead and set that to the side. This has a little mini box. I assume this is for your dice and stuff to go into. Comes with the poison and burn markers, and actually I really appreciate the color scheme of these dice, except I just don't like the numbered dice. I like pips. I think pips are easier. They take less time to fiddle around with. We have the deck itself, and then the 6 ultra rares, or in this case, double rares or better. So let's open this up, plop them down on the table, and take a look at them real quick. We get 3 copies of Charizard EX, of course 330 HP with Infernal Rain and Burning Darkness. When you evolve from your hand onto one of your Pokemon, you can search your deck for up to 3 basic fire energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, thus fulfilling the Burning Darkness needs. And then you have the attack itself. It does 180 plus, 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So as the later the game goes, the more powerful it becomes. We then have 2 copies of Pidgeot EX for quick search. And of course it has Blustery Wind, but you know, doesn't really happen too often. But quick searches will let you allow to search for any card you want once per turn. And then this is probably the best reprint in the box, ultimately, is Prime Catcher. This has been sitting around $20+ for the longest time. And so now this is a super accessible item inside of this deck, which retails for like $30-ish. I think it was like 32 bucks or whatever. So we'll see how that's looking here, and then let's dive into the rest of this deck and see what is included. I mean, of course the list is on the back of the box, but it's just a lot cooler to see what we've got inside. So this is slightly pre-shuffled, so we're just gonna have to take our time. We have a Charmander, a Rare Candy, Ino, Ultra Ball, Fire Energy, Artisan, Boss's Orders, Moltres, Charmeleon, Fire, TM Evolution, Pidgeotto, Pidgey, Fire Energy, Professor's Research, Buddy Buddy Poffin, which is very important, Arven, also very important, another Rare Candy, Ultra Ball, Ino, a couple Fire Energies, another Charmeleon, another Buddy Buddy Poffin, Super Rod, Switch, Defiance Band, Fire, Iono, Charmander, Rare Candy, Moltres, Research, Boss, Fire, Candy, Poffin, Charmander, Pidgey, Ultra Ball, TM Evo, Fire, another Artisan, more Iono, more Arven, more Pidgey, more Ultra Ball, Fire, Moltres, Buddy Buddy Poffin, Charmander, Charmeleon, another Pidgeotto, and a Fire. So I'll go ahead and get this sorted out and laid out. So with a quick cut, and then there we have it laid out. So of course, 4 Charmander, 3 Charmeleon, 3 Charizard, 3 Pidgey, 2 Pidgeotto, 2 Pidgeot, 3 Moltres, 2 Artisan, 2 Evolution, Defiance Band, the Prime Catcher, Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, Poffin, all at 4s. 1 Switch, 1 Rod, 4 Iono, 2 Arven, 2 Research. We have 2 Boss, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 basic Fire Energy. Now let's take a look at the insert here. And it's just kind of talk about what the deck can do. And of course, this talks about how to upgrade your deck. It wants you to play a 4th Charizard and 1 Defiance Band. But we're going to ignore those requirements. And we're going to go ahead and just process of elimination and just start removing cards. The easiest cut in terms of the Pokemon is the Moltres. No one plays this card. We're going to remove it from the deck whatsoever. We're also going to cut these Pidgeotos because we have access to rare candy. Now, this Pidgey is fine, but in the metagame, Dragapult exists, things that spread damage counters exist, so typically you are going to want to potentially play the 60 HP Pidgeys. Charmeleon typically only gets played of as a one of in the deck, so we'll go ahead and cut 2 Charmeleon. Because we've cut all of those stage 1 Pokemon, we no longer need the TM evolution. In addition, Artisan really doesn't serve super much purpose with what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're going to go ahead and remove those from this list. 2 copies of Boss is okay. Professor's Research is probably fine. 4 Iono is definitely a little too much, but only 2 Arven is not enough. Arven we want to get 2 more copies of. Energy, we're typically going to see anywhere between 5 to 7 basic fire energy in these Charizard decks. The magic number I personally like is 6 basic fire energy. So we can go ahead and cut these extra 4 out. So we have plenty of space to work with so far. So the Ionos, the Pidgeys, we're going to play a 202 of the Pidgey as well into the Pidgeot. And we're going to attempt to replace it with, say, the 60 HP Pidgeys, just so it can survive a little bit more of damage spread. Because in the case of Dragapult, they spread 6 damage counters on the bench. If you have this, they're able to knock out your Pidgey and then put 1 somewhere else, and it helps them math fix in ways that you ultimately don't want to.
A few moments later.
Okay, and I am back once again, thanks to the power of magic. No, I'm just kidding, editing. We're here with what my Pokemon and item lineups look like in my Charizard deck. I know this might not be the optimal deck, but this is what I prefer to play at the current moment in time. I've got 3 copies of Charmander, 1 Charmeleon, and 3 Charizard. So you already have that in that deck. Easy cuts, plenty of ways to go. We've got 2 copies of Pidgey, and I am playing the 60 HP one just in case of those worst case scenario matchups that I was talking about earlier. And then the 2 Pidgeot EX. And then I've got some newcomers to the list here. We've got the Rotom V for instant charge. You're never going to attack with Scrap Shot. We don't play Lightning Energy, but we have the Rotom, of course, to draw 3 cards. This is typically like your first turn. You want to nest ball for this, get it in play, and draw a couple cards to help you set up the game in the future. We then have a copy of Lumineon V. When you bench this from your hand, you can search your deck for a supporter card and find it. So this is going to help you find Arven, so on and so forth, whatever you think you're missing and need. And of course, we have a copy of Fezandipity EX for Flip the Script. If your opponent took a knockout, you get to draw 3 cards during your turn. And Curl Arrow is technically able to be accessed because it takes 3 colorless. You can snipe for 100 on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if like your early game didn't quite get a knockout, you can use Fezandipity to get there. And of course, Charizard just going to accelerate to it. And then we've got 2 copies of Duskull, and then it's evolutions, Dusclops and Dust Noir. They both have what is called Cursed Blast. You can knock this Pokemon out and put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, or in the case of Dust Noir, it's 13 damage counters. So that's going to give your opponent a prize card, which will accelerate the damage output of Charizard and put damage counters in play to help you get earlier knockouts. We then have a copy of Cleffa from Obsidian Flames. Draw until you have 7 cards in hand for a colorless, and it's a free retreater. Really good turn 1 going second kind of play. And then we have the Radiant Charizard, 160 HP, basic Pokemon, and its attacks cost colorless less for each prize card your opponent has taken. So as the game progresses, this card just gets better and better, and it can attack for 250 damage. Really good. Into items. I am playing a copy of Unfair Stamp for my Ace Spec, not the Prime Catcher. If your opponent took a knockout, you can play this. Both players shuffle their hands into their decks, and then you get to draw 5 cards. They get to draw 2 cards, so it also just disrupts their hand. Think of it like being able to Iono and still play like a Boss's Orders or whatever else. I am rocking 4 copies of Buddy Buddy Poffin, 4 copies of Ultra Ball, and 4 copies of Rare Candy as included in the pre-built deck. However, I am playing 3 copies of Nest Ball to help me additionally find Pokemon and put them into play. That just gets a basic. So it doesn't trigger, say, the Lumineon, but it does help you get whatever else you may be missing. We then have 2 copies of Counter Catcher. If we're behind on prize cards, it's effectively a Gust. in the form of an item, and then I have 2 copies instead of instead of the 1 super rod that the deck played. So that's it for the Pokemon and the item cards. We'll cut real quick to the supporters, energy, and tool cards. All right, on to the supporters. I am rocking 4 copies of Arven. The pre-built deck only comes with 2, so you're gonna have to get 2 in some other ways. I recommend the Trainer's Toolkit or just other products. You might even have these laying around. And then I do have 2 copies of Iono, which the deck came with 4, so there's 2 for you. 2 copies of Boss, which it did include. And this is where the other supporters that you're not going to have in the deck that you're going to want to get your hands on potentially. First off, we have Professor Turo's Scenario. Pick up a Pokemon in play and put it in your hand and discard all other cards. So you can pick up a Charizard and play it again and re-accelerate energy, so on and so forth. So they attempt to get a KO and they whiff, then this is really good to deny them some prize cards. We then have a copy of Thornton to swap one of our basic Pokemon into a different basic Pokemon. So say that Rotom V has been sitting there and you don't have a Charmander in play. Well, you can turn that Rotom into a Charmander with Thornton and then evolve with Rare Candy and then go off from there. And last but definitely not least, we have Briar. You can only use this if your opponent has exactly 2 prize cards remaining. During your turn, if your Pokemon knocks out an opponent's Pokemon and you're using a Terra, so in this case Charizard, you can take an extra prize card. And because they have to be at 2 prize cards to use this, this is where those Duskulls, Dusknoir, Dusclops, they all come into clutch to help even out that prize trade. You're spreading damage around onto the board, making it easier for things to take knockouts with. And then this can just clean up the game. So if you have 3 prize cards left, they have 3 prize cards left, you can just trigger off one of those Skulls, get some damage on the board, make them take a prize card, slap down the Briar, and then attack for game with your Charizard EX. In terms of tools, we are rocking a Defiance Band and a Forest Seal Stone. Defiance Band is already included in the deck. That's great. And then the Forest Seal Stone is here to give the Lumineon and Rotom the V-Star power, Star Alchemy, letting you search your deck for any 1 card once per game. Just another helpful consistency piece. And of course, Arven helps establish that earlier on in the game. In terms of stadiums, I'm not playing the Artisans of the deck included. I have a single copy of Collapse Stadium, and this is to get rid of, say, Rotom, Lumineon, Pheasantipity, or something that might lose you the game, and also at the same time condense your opponent's bench and make certain matchups more favorable. And then finally, I'm playing 6 basic fire energy cards. Way less than the 10 in the pre-built deck. You don't need that many because you just accelerate from the deck anyways, so this is more than enough for all of your attacks. Plus we play the 2 copies of Super Rod to put these and your Pokemon back and just continue the game state that way. But hopefully this helps you take your Charizard League Battle deck and upgrade it to be the best thing that you can potentially do and take to your Pokemon tournaments, your locals, your leagues, your cups, your challenges. Heck, you could even go to regionals and play Charizard and do really well. But that's it for me in this video. I hope you found this informative, and if so, please take a moment to leave a comment down below, like the video, and of course, subscribe if you have yet to do so. Support me on my content creator journey. And if you ever need any of these cards and you want to buy them online, check out TCGplayer.com. There's an affiliate link down in the description below. That really does help support the channel, in addition to things like channel memberships and hanging out in streams and just everything else. But that's it for me in this one. I hope you guys found this helpful. Much love, and I'll see you in the next time. Super Rod!